All right. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the True Crime Talk Show brought to you by Thought Riot Podcast. My name is Brendan.
And I'm Malia.
And welcome to the show. So you can find us on every major podcast platform out there. You just search Thought Riot Podcast spelled all the way out. You can find us on every major social media platform out there. You just spell out Thought Riot Podcast, all the same. For anybody on any of the platforms that are international or primarily international viewers, we have a live, active, and absolutely insane chat over here at YouTube. So if you want to engage, youtube.com and search Thought Riot Podcast spelled all the way out, and you will find it and it will pop right up for you. We're going to be going through a few different cases tonight. And yes, we are going to be answering some questions that have been left from yesterday and some other content creators topics, things like that. And remember, this is the talk show that is true crime focused, talking about all things true crime related, all of the major cases that are going on, at least in the US for right now. That also includes what's going on in the community, what people are saying, how they're saying it, and why they're saying it. So welcome to the show, everyone. Buckle up, grab some popcorn, get ready for the insanity, and let's go.
Yeah, well, first off, the jury selection process is completed in the Karen Reed case. Finally. So we can look forward to opening statements on Monday. But we all know Karen Reed's defense is using the third-party culprit defense, right? Well, the judge, I don't know if you heard this. It's been people who've been following it have known this for a while. The judge ruled, I mean, at least a week, I think, they can't use the third-party culprit defense in their opening statement because the defense wouldn't tell the judge like who they were going to be naming as the third party.
What?
They said they didn't have to reveal that, is what the defense argued. And the judge was like, well,
don't they already know who they're going to be naming? And that was the whole argument in pre-trial.
I thought so.
Because they were arguing that, look, it's Karen Reed that's on trial, not the other officer and his sister or fiance or whatever that was involved. And that's why they can't pull their phone records and this, that, and the other.
See, I thought, I don't understand it either. I don't get why you wouldn't let them use it in their opening statement, especially since that's been the whole thing this whole time. Like, I feel like this has all been parsed out quite a bit, like with the texts and all. There's so much,
Yeah.
So I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me, but we'll see how it goes. So far, they can still use it in their like closing statements, and they can apparently present evidence on it. But I just don't. But I also don't understand how the defense could not name the third party culprit. You can't.
Wow.
Like, you have to have evidence on that, and you have to present that in discovery back to the state, and the state has to be able to like argue against you. So I don't know how you could not name them, but I feel like they've already been named. So that's why I'm confused.
They have already been named, but this is maybe the angle that they're approaching is I wonder if they're just going at it to where they're trying to prove that Karen Reed wasn't it, and they're not actually naming who the third party is.
Yeah.
Part of that reason is the fact that it's a police officer, and they believe that if they don't name a police officer as the potential suspect that ended the life of another police officer, then maybe they're more likely to get the jury on their side, because then the jury doesn't feel like that they're convicting a law enforcement officer, maybe. That's the only thing that I can think of when I'm trying to figure out potential reasons why. You know?
Right. And they're like, we've all seen evidence against them already. Like, I have the phone records that night. So Jennifer McCabe got home at 2:12. She was active on her phone and was searching the Google search where she searches what is it again? How long to die in the cold?
Yeah.
And again, beginning at 2:23, there's log steps throughout the morning up until getting the call from Karen Reed that she couldn't get a hold of John and couldn't find him. So it doesn't appear she even went to sleep that night. She was active all night.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's really good evidence.
That sounds like somebody who's nervous about something, or, is trying to because the Google search results are pretty damning in my opinion. And then the fact that she didn't sleep that night is really strange to me.
Listen, I agree.
Especially
100%.
After a night out drinking. Yeah. Who doesn't sleep? I don't know. Really, really odd.
Yeah, I agree with you. I am going to be very curious as to how the Karen Reed case is going to turn out. It is another case of madness right now, and I just don't understand completely.
There has to be some kind of legal thing I just don't get with it. I was kind of trying to find if anybody had explained why the judge made that ruling, but I haven't seen anybody explain it, like a lawyer. I mean, like somebody that is in law.
No, I mean, I haven't either. I know there's a lot of eyes on this case, and with the FBI involvement now, there is the accountability surrounding this case has been increased exponentially now.
Dude,
is the best way I would put it.
Okay, so her exact ruling was she'll allow them to use the third party culprit defense or argument during trial as long as it develops throughout and with witness statements and evidence. They just can't open with it. Which, I mean, how many times have you heard lawyers say every trial's won in opening statements? Like, the opening statement just sets a tone, it sets a tone for the whole thing. It's like setting an intention for your day.
Yeah.
So I do think it hinders them some, but hopefully they can make up for it if they got some really banger evidence. I don't know. Karen Reed's case is one that I just really don't know how to feel about. The statements she made, some of the things she said that morning, they're weird to me. But then you see the evidence for the other side, and that's like, whoa.
Trust me, I know. I looked at it too, and I don't completely understand it. I don't completely understand it.
But this town, okay, Canton, Massachusetts, okay, I am just bewildered, okay? Just like, I don't even know what to say about the toxicity in this town. Yeah. It is so toxic.
Yeah. Based on what we're seeing at
the way people are behaving,
yeah, I know,
towards each other, locals that are well known being, attacked. Yeah. Like,
I don't want to put anyone on blast, but there is a content creator that quite a few people know in the true crime community, and I just happened to see a clip. Somebody clipped a video of theirs, and it blew me away. I was in disbelief at what I was seeing, and I'm not going to go into it because, again, I'm not looking to put anybody on blast, but it was very, very dramatic. And it was in direct connection with the Karen Reed case. And I don't know. Here's the thing. All the Karen Reed supporters were pushed back away from the courthouse steps because they didn't want them biasing the jury with their free Karen Reed stuff. And you know what I mean? Like, they didn't want that in front of the courthouse.
I mean, which I understand, but if you're not going to allow them to be in front of the courthouse, then you can't let people in front of the courthouse who are screaming she's guilty. It has to be equal.
I agree.
It has to be fair.
Yeah.
So if somebody does that, they need to be held accountable, like somebody who was up there saying free Karen Reed. Like,
let's not don't include names, you guys. Do me a favor, don't include names. I don't ever want to paint somebody bad. If you know who I'm talking about, please don't include names in the chat. I appreciate it.
Yeah, just for right now. We don't want to start any crap or anything. But yeah, so I think it should be fair. I don't think it should be allowed. If one side, the people who are free Karen Reed can't be up there, then the people who think she's guilty can't be up there saying anything or having signs or anything like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't like that either, but that's not even what I was referring to. I got pretty deep today in some posts about locals that have been a part of the free Karen Reed movement and people who have not, and just the battling that's been going on that hadn't quite seen before.
I think I just banned somebody and I didn't mean to do that. I was trying to delete the comment. So if it was you who just got banned, I apologize. I'll fix it. Hold on.
Yeah, he can go fix it right now.
No names, you guys, please. Let's not include names. I don't want to add to the subjective nature of this case. We're trying our hardest to stay on the science here. So please, no names or we will have to remove that comment.
Yeah, he was just trying to delete a single comment, not ban you. So just hold on tight and he'll fix it. But anyway, I was just shocked. Like, I didn't realize how toxic the community had become, and how much they were fighting amongst themselves.
Okay, not you should just be unbanned.
I wasn't even referring to any content creators coming in and doing anything. I was literally referring to locals when I first said that. The locals are fighting each other.
No,
like this
that's
town
who I'm talking about
divided.
Too. My original statement was the fact that hey, no names, you guys, please. The original statement was specifically about a content creator, and we're just going to leave it vague like that. If you guys know who we're talking about, you know who we're talking about. If you don't, I don't want to be a part of spreading that subjective, dramatic type stuff. But yeah, I agree with you. And to be fair here, right? If I have no idea if Karen Reed is innocent or guilty. Again, this is another case. And the reason why is because I don't feel like I've seen enough evidence to understand. One thing I understand, though, is that the taillight was damaged from that car. Okay. Does that mean that she did not have a part in the crime? No, it doesn't. Does it mean that law enforcement strengthened their case in another way? It could mean that, but we have no confirmation of that. But yeah, when it comes to the locals, there has been nonstop fighting. And in my opinion, I personally believe that people should be allowed to promote what they believe in front of the courthouse in the way of holding signs and things like that, except when stuff gets violent. And it has been violent there. And unfortunately, there's another content creator, which again, I'm not going to name them, and they were fighting for a fair trial, but they themselves have done some things that, in my opinion, weren't beneficial to the case. So, and this is the downside, right? There are a ton of positives that come out of, there's a ton of positives that come out of the true crime community and the strength in investigating and the strength in public interest and a strength in an overall gathering of information and investigating the current science and evidence that's being brought forth. But bringing the dramatic aspects into it doesn't help anybody. And this is a great example of that. A great example of that.
Yeah, I agree. But you know, I'm looking forward to watching the trial. Opening statements are scheduled for Monday, so we're gonna keep our eyes on that, and we'll come on here to chat about it after. But moving on, I mean, that's really all the updates I have for Karen Read at the moment. I don't want to get into the drama and all of that stuff that's going on. We're just going to focus on the trial.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I think that's really important when you're looking at a situation where nothing is sure, where you're not sure about anything. You know what I mean?
Yep. Because I really am not sure about any of it, if I'm being honest.
The one thing I'm sure here is that the taillight found on the side of the road did not originate from there. Okay. So when I see one thing wrong, okay, I start questioning other things. And I've said that from the beginning. There only needs to be one thing. And then you have the FBI who came in and said that John O'Keefe's injuries could not match Karen Read's vehicle. Whoa. That's a big deal.
Yeah, and one thing I forgot to mention is, so last week her attorneys filed.
Are they going to be allowed to talk about in the court? Do you know?
Talk about what?
The FBI's conclusion.
I don't think
John O'Keefe's autopsy.
I don't think that's been like put up. Like I think that's on the table. Yeah,
okay,
I don't know. Though.
I wasn't sure.
I'm not sure. It's a huge deal though. Anyway, her attorneys filed last week a motion that the current layout in the courtroom would violate her constitutional rights to confrontation because several members of the jury would be able to see the faces of witnesses. The prosecution.
Say that one more time. Say that one more time.
And this is a really big courtroom. So Karen Read's attorneys filed a motion arguing that the current layout of the courtroom would violate her constitutional right to confrontation because several of the jury will be unable to see the faces of witnesses. So there's several jurors who will not be able to see witnesses testifying on the stand. They're saying their view will be obscured
to build that human connection. That's interesting. That's really interesting. I would love to see some data science between the believability of a witness when you can see them versus when you can't. That is a very interesting topic.
Now, the judge said that she was sure this courtroom was legal, the current layout. But she was considering moving the case to a smaller courtroom, and it appears that has happened.
Okay.
They are going to move it to a smaller courtroom.
They need to be careful with how this case is going to be presented because this is another ticking time bomb. This is another one.
Cynthia, I'm not sure. Have you seen another creator asking you a question about cell towers?
So we did a response video last night.
Are you talking about Pavarotti, Cynthia, or are you talking about somebody else? Because we did talk about Pavarotti's question last night.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so that's that. That's it for really Karen Read right now. Wow, I said that really weird, but
60:55. Yeah. Okay. So moving on to Sebastian Rogers. What do you got? I'm going to save Idaho4 for last tonight so we can make sure to get through it.
I mean, there hasn't been much. I mean,
what about the new supposed, and I wish I haven't had time, you guys. I said this yesterday with my current work schedule and buying the new studio. So we are like purchasing a new studio, not renting space, literally purchasing an entire building. That has taken all of my time. I have not been able to watch anything, but I know that there's some kind of new information around Sebastian Rogers. Yeah.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I don't know. I only know that from reading headlines of videos and not having the time to be able to watch them right now.
There's no new information. Now, one big headline that has been going around right now is asking if the Joe Clyde Daniels case could help find Sebastian. And Joe Clyde Daniel was, I believe this is, 5-year-old from Dixon County who disappeared from his home, like mysteriously, like just disappeared, not any evidence, in 2018. And he has never been found, but his father confessed to killing him, but then later recanted his confession, but he still ended up being found guilty in a court of law.
Good. Jeez.
And he was also autistic and supposedly in his pajamas and was barefoot and they say wandered away from home that night. But I mean, if his dad killed him, then I don't know how he would have wandered away from his home that night. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hello, everybody.
Yeah, he was never found.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Not even after his father was convicted?
Nope. Never found. Which makes me wonder, did his dad even do it?
What? Why would he admitted to it?
I don't know. Here's the thing. I don't know enough about this case to know if he was coerced or not into a confession.
Got it.
I don't know.
Okay.
So I need to look into this case to actually understand, because it's weird to me that if he confessed, why would he not then tell them where the body is if he's in jail for the rest of his life?
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah, like that doesn't make any sense. So, Nick Barris brought this up. He's the reporter that has been all over the Sebastian Rogers case, local to the area with News Channel 5 Nashville. And he brought up this case, asking questions about it recently, asking if it could help them, find Sebastian. I don't know how it could. I think he was more kind of pushing the thing that somebody needs to come forward who knows things.
Yeah, I agree with you. And that's one of the things that we talked about in length when it comes to Sebastian Rogers, is that people don't just go missing. Okay. Is it possible for a 15-year-old to walk out of the house, get lost in the forest or something, or fall into a lake, something like that? Yeah, but we would have found remains. We would have found something of that nature. Otherwise, it would take a 15-year-old to have some kind of contact with people, okay? People are out all hours of the night. I don't believe that you could just go on out there and not be seen again. So something is missing here. We know that there's an underground idea of it being a criminal investigation, whereas police haven't come out and officially said it's already a criminal investigation, but they've managed some email and personal responses in a way that a criminal investigation would be handled. Okay. Now we know that some weird behavior or some weird decisions were made with keeping certain family members close to law enforcement while they were out looking for them. And now we're seeing some additional weird behaviors with some questionable history from all parents involved. So we know the statistic around family members going missing and or being hurt. And that statistic is over 50% of the time, it is a close family member, right? So again, this goes back to, I am not trying to blame anybody, but I am going to follow the science and statistics. Okay. Science and statistics in relative importance is always higher on the scale than emotional value or the subjective nature of a relationship with other human beings, in my opinion. Meaning, I am always going to put facts and statistics above somebody's feelings, whether it be hurt feelings, sad, offended, anything like that. Look, science is coming above it. I'm sorry. Like, you know what I mean? So when I'm looking at the Sebastian Rogers case, I look at it and I'm thinking there's no way, it's impossible for a 15-year-old to, without taking a vehicle or anything like that, without taking shoes, to go walking off in front of the house. We've said this a million times before, and then do it and disappear with no other help from another human being.
Yeah, no camera evidence, took nothing with him, not even a pair of shoes, apparently. Yeah, but not caught on camera anywhere. Nowhere. He just escaped a whole neighborhood with no cameras catching him and no scent trail. Really bizarre. It doesn't make a ton of sense to me. But no, Brendan, we were not saying that one of the fathers admitted to killing Sebastian. We were talking about the Joe Clyde Daniels case, which was a 5-year-old who went missing in 2018, where his dad admitted to killing him, but then later recanted the confession, but was still found guilty in court. But this little boy had never been found. And, you know, people like this reporter, Nick Barris, has been asking if this could help find Sebastian. And I felt like the implication was one of the parents needs to speak up, basically. One of them knows something. Like, and I think a lot of people are feeling that way. And it was really weird last week seeing Seth team up supposedly with Chris and Katie Proudfoot, the bio mother and stepfather, and then go on Peter Hyatt's channel and say, like, well, and sit there while Peter Hyatt is saying, Katie, you need to confess, essentially.
Yeah.
You need to confess. You need to tell us what happened here. You need to let us know something, because you know something, and it is the key to this case. You know something.
Yeah. So the statistic would relate directly to his mother, who he was with, because he was with her last. Okay. It doesn't mean there's not some kind of involvement from the stepfather, but I'm talking about statistics only. That is not my opinion. I am not pointing blame, but the scientific statistical value around a child being hurt and or going missing would relate to the mother, because he was under her care. Okay. Now there are some very interesting aspects to that as well. Like one of our thought writers had said just now that her parents were down in the area and immediately went to Alaska, like you had mentioned previously.
No, the Bauer Sox. That is Chris Proudfoot's mother,
so in-laws
and stepfather.
So in-laws, yeah. So in-laws. But still, their parents were down and then went to Alaska the next day right after this. So it just doesn't look. The red flags continue popping up the more you look into that situation. When you're looking at statistical probabilities of children going hurt or
and
missing.
Here's the thing. I have seen it stated really, especially in the past week, it's been stated very firmly that it's a fact that Seth was working that night at the jail, and there's no way around it. It is a fact. He didn't leave. He was at work all night. And that it's a fact that Chris Proudfoot was in Memphis working as well. So if that is the case, if police have completely vetted their alibis and have looked at their cell phones thoroughly, then Katie's the only one left who could have any information that could help find Sebastian. And I don't know if every time she's been interviewed, it's been with Chris Proudfoot at her side, but if it has, they need to get her away from him. And I hope they have interrogated her. That's all I'll say. I hope they've really interrogated her and not just went super soft on her. And supposedly she got a polygraph though and passed it.
Okay.
That's what they claim. Now, there's been no official police statement that any of them passed polygraphs or that any of them have been cleared. None.
Yeah. Yeah. Which, good. I hope it is an open criminal investigation.
I mean, that just makes
That's what I hope.
Okay, so T-Rev also posted to Twitter today, and I've seen numerous people, not just T-Rev, tons of people who have sent in public records requests on this case, and they keep getting the same responses. And I have seen so many screenshots, and it's denied pending criminal investigation. They're every single one literally says a criminal investigation.
Yeah.
Now, you guys recall, we read the Uvalde Foundation statement. I think that was early last week, where they said this was turning into a criminal investigation. Like it was going that direction.
Good. It needs
which
to.
At this point makes sense. I really hope, have you seen what Seth Rogers' petition has ended up being for the FBI to come into this case?
I do not. Or have not.
I haven't seen what the signatures are at. I wonder, would the FBI even take up this case because of a petition?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Unfortunately, I think you're right.
There's rules to it. And we, unfortunately, as the public, do not have access to just call upon the FBI whenever we see fit. That would be nice, but no, I do not see the FBI getting involved in this.
But that doesn't make any sense. The FBI gets involved in missing kid cases.
So, look, as far as we know, this is not a criminal investigation.
So they have 16,472 signatures so far.
Yeah, it's a nice idea, but I do not see this pushing the FBI to get involved in this, in my opinion. I think the reason why we saw FBI get involved in the Karen Reed case, you guys, is because it was law enforcement.
Well, they're investigating the prosecutor.
Well, it's law enforcement involvement, and it was a very toxic, hostile environment in that area. And I think that the Fed's opinion goes a long way to try and reduce some of those, elevating issues.
I put the link to the change.org petition in the chat just in case you guys want to sign it. I mean, couldn't hurt, even if it doesn't sway the FBI into getting involved. FBI would usually get involved in kid disappearance over 13. I have seen the dispatch audio of the first 11 hours. I forget the name of the creator right now, but I have seen it, and it's incredible work. Like, if you guys haven't seen that, the dispatch audio from the first 11 hours, and again, I can't remember the creator's name, but if you search that, you should be able to find it. It's really interesting. If you're following the Sebastian Rogers case and you haven't heard it, definitely go listen to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think there is some kind of indication there was a scent, but here's the thing. Police are saying it was a false lead. How can they determine that, though? Because in the audio, they even said there were footprints. And I did see somebody saying in the chat that it was like, became official that nobody saw Sebastian leaving that morning. I don't know why that's big news. I feel like that's been obvious from the beginning, honestly. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why that's big news.
Just to clarify, I don't mind if people talk about other content creators in our chat, you guys. I just don't want us to talk about them in a very subjective, negative light where, you know, it comes off as like talking behind someone's back, gossipy drama type thing. If there's relevant information that they are presenting, by all means, absolutely talk about them. And that's okay. But we aren't okay with promotion. That's not what this channel is for. But, you know, again, relevant information to an investigation, absolutely, by all means. So, all right, we got a gifted membership. Thank you, Rhiannon.
Rhiannon.
Okay. Malia's got your back. But I look again, going back to the Sebastian Rogers case, I just hope that he's found, man. How messed up would it be if...
Thank you, Speedy Bird, for the gifted membership.
Yes,
we appreciate you both, Rhiannon and Speedy Bird.
Thank you. How messed up would it be to for the grandparents to take Sebastian Rogers without saying something to the parents, something of that nature?
Well, see,
I just saw someone mention that, and yeah, that would be awful. That would be insane.
Yeah, that would be awful, of course. We're missing something here. Something's missing. I just feel like a major part of this is missing.
Yeah.
And it's either got to be technology related, or like him on the internet talking to somebody, or yeah, like a third party in the family, somebody close.
Yeah. I agree with you, and like, that's one of the things that I brought up.
Have we ever gotten confirmation that it was only Katie and Sebastian there and that nobody else was there that night?
No, not from what I've been able to find, and I have specifically looked for that. Now, I don't know what kind of background they've done on the technology. I have no idea. None whatsoever. One thing that I do think they need to do is I believe that it should be a standard to do geo-blended data investigating in every crime, and that this will be a good opener topic into the Idaho4 new documents and the response to some new information. But I think that needs to be a standard. Okay. Now, one thing I want to say is a lot of people right now are weary of this science of the GPS because it can be so heavily influenced by the surroundings, by just a body. If you block your phone from the GPS data site, it will impact your coverage. Now, think of a tree, think of mountains, think of buildings, think of metal buildings, think of copper piping, think of other radio waves and frequencies that are in the air. All these things impact all frequencies, all of them. There's no way around it. But it's not that simple. We are not talking about one connected string of data. We're talking about a multitude of them. We're talking about Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, cellular, GPS, metadata even, right? Which is, metadata is used so minimally, but you can use it, all right? You can. And it needs to be a standard, in my opinion. It is more trustworthy than DNA, in my opinion. So I hope they looked at all their phone records. I hope they looked at their phone records and what devices were near their phone, and then looked who owned those devices. The reason being is because we wondered about a burner phone, right? Yep. We asked, is it possible to three-way a burner phone? Well, that burner phone at some point would have to be around the owned phone and number, and they would communicate with each other, all right? It's the evidence that they have against Rex Heuermann. Rex Heuermann was got a burner phone for every single victim he had, you guys. Every single victim, Rex Heuermann had a burner phone. But you know what he didn't do? He didn't leave his phone at home. What he did is he brought his regular phone, but used his burner phone. And you know what those two phones did? They communicated with each other. They realized that they were within 5 feet of each other or a couple feet of each other. So that is confirmation that Rex Heuermann's phone, which is in the safety and security of Rex Heuermann, was near this burner phone that was tied to the victims and the crimes, and those two phones were together.
Right.
So he never did crime on his personal phone, but he did it on his burner phone, and his burner phone was close enough to pick it up to try and connect Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, or things of that nature. That is great evidence.
It is great.
And it's not subjective. Wireless, GPS, geo-blended location services is not subjective. It's not an opinion.
Yeah, I wonder why they haven't, like, even though I believe fog data science, which if you guys don't know what that is, it's a contract service, okay? It's a searchable database that is a subscription service for law enforcement, where this company, they buy background application data, so like GPS data, location data, from a data broker, because all of your data that is collected from applications goes to a public data broker who then sells it to whoever has money to buy it. It's then like basically accessible to the public as long as they have the money to get it. So they take all that data and they put it in this database where it can be searchable. And the cops can search a location where a crime happened and see every device that was connected in that area. Or they can search a very specific device and see everywhere it went. It can track in near real time. And they claim that this is constitutionally okay because it doesn't give private information like your name. But the thing is if they track 4 data points, like your house, like, they'll be able to see where your house is. They'll be able to see where you go to work. They'll be able to see where you go shopping. And very few people go where you go each day. They can determine who you are with like 95% accuracy. So even though I don't agree with fog data science, and I do not think it's constitutionally sound, I think it might be helpful in Sebastian Rogers' case. And I am curious because last I know, it was 18 jurisdictions that, which includes like FBI, local, and state, had like a contract with fog data science. And I'm just wondering, does TBI, or probably not Sumner County Sheriff's Department, but does any local law enforcement, to Sebastian Rogers' case, do they have a subscription to fog data science? And if they don't, the FBI could be really helpful if they assisted them with that, because it could tell them if there was a strange device in the area. But they could also get cell tower data dumps as well and do kind of a similar thing. But moving on from Sebastian Rogers' case, there is major news in the Madeline Soto case.
Oh, and I'm glad you're talking about that.
I have to bring that up because I was updating and tweeting today throughout the whole process, because this morning there was supposed to be a hearing for Stephen Stearns. This was supposed to be the first time we were going to see him in court. Well, he didn't show up and we didn't get the live feed. Like, it just never came up. So we didn't get to see the hearing, but apparently it was over and done pretty quick. And all they basically did was cancel his trial, and move it to August 19th. So now his hearing dates are, the pretrial hearing is July 10th at 1:30 p.m. and the trial is August 19th at 9 a.m. And that's what we heard first, okay? That was it, is that they moved all that stuff. Well, then a few hours later, this document came through, and it was a grand jury indictment for first-degree murder. Finally, all this time, everybody's been like, why has Stefan Stearns not been charged with murder? Like, it's really obvious he was the one who did it. So this is on our Twitter, you guys. I tweeted about 5 hours ago. You can see the document on our Twitter at Thought Riot Pod. And it says first degree murder. And then it says the grand jury of the county of Osceola, duly called, impaneled, and sworn to inquire and true presentment, make. Oh my gosh, it's so tiny. Hold on, let me zoom in a little. Make in and for the body of county of Osceola, upon their oaths to do present that Stefan Michael Stearns on or between the 25th day of February 2024 and the 27th day of February 2024, and said county and state did, in violation of Florida Statute 782.04, from a premeditated design to effect the death of Madeline Soto, a human being, unlawfully killed Madeline Soto. And it's signed by the grand jury, the 4-person. So that literally happened today, where he was finally charged. And I think what's on everyone's mind is, where the heck is Jennifer Soto? Because then there was a press conference, and during the press conference, they said this is still pending a criminal investigation.
Yeah, I'm listening to you while I'm finalizing this for
they would answer no
studio.
Questions. Like, we just got the murder charges, okay? But the investigation is not wrapped up. They are still investigating, and they will not give us any information. They would answer no questions when it came to the investigation, or anything to do with anything, really. They made their statements, and they also said that the death penalty has not been decided on yet. So we're not sure if they're going to be bringing the death penalty, but it's an ongoing investigation. One thing I thought was interesting from that document is they gave us a range. They said between the 25th of February from the 27th, in between those times, are when they believe he killed her. I don't understand why they gave a range like that. I thought it was pretty nailed down to
the time of death. Yeah.
Like that night or morning.
Yeah. So the reason why I think they gave a range is because, again, I feel like this goes back to the mother, and I'm not sure if you commented on that already, but I think there has to be some kind of knowledge, something weird going on, because, again, look, this is a statistical evaluation. It is not my opinion. I don't know her mother. I don't know any of these people involved. But when I look at the scientific statistics around this, if she was missing possibly for a full 24 hours, if she was passed possibly for a full 24 hours, how in the world would the mother not know that the night before, when she claimed that, she had a conversation with her and everything else? And the reason why I'm saying that is because we know the mother lied about that morning's incidents. And, maybe that was just her assuming the best of her man, her guy, her dude, what's his name?
Stefan Stearns.
Yep. Stearns. And I have always thought maybe that's a possibility. But now that we're seeing a range, and if we get confirmation that the TOD, time of death, could potentially be a full 12 hours before what we originally thought it was. But this impossible. The mother didn't know.
Yeah, but I don't think that's why it's a range. So
You don't?
Look,
You don't
Madeline,
think that they're leaving it open to potentially leave enough gap to convict
no, because
a
it's
co-defendant?
after. It's after.
I thought you just said it was before.
No.
Okay,
So Madeline Soto
misunderstanding.
turned 13 on February 22nd, and then she celebrated that Sunday on February 25th with her family. So they're including that day. February 25th is the beginning of this range. And then the next day on Monday, she was supposed to go to school. And that's when that morning we heard her mother, Jennifer Soto, lie and say that she saw Maddie getting ready or whatever. But Stearns was literally outside dumping her backpack and her computer in the dumpster like an hour before that at like 7:30 or something like that. So it didn't make any sense. Like, how could you have seen her getting ready for school when he's out there a whole hour earlier dumping all her stuff like she's gone? And then the police came out and said there was video of her in the passenger seat of his car that morning, and they believe she was already gone. Unless, because we're pending toxicology results, you guys, they think she might not have been dead and maybe she was drugged.
Oh man, what a disgusting piece of trash, man. I
know. Maybe he dumped her stuff before. I don't know. But all I am wondering is, what's up with Jennifer Soto? Why is she gone? And one thing that's interesting, we have no idea where she is. All we've heard is she's cooperated with police, but that's it. Like, nobody's telling us nothing. There's been rumors of her going to a mental hospital. Well, the police chief, the Kissimmee police chief, and the state attorney said that this is an ongoing investigation and more charges could be forthcoming today in the press conference. So what does that mean? Does that mean more charges against Stefan Stearns, or does that mean Jennifer Soto could possibly be charged?
I wish I knew, but I think there's some kind of involvement with the mother, you guys. And
it's just an opinion.
Well, okay, hold on. Let me reword that. I think there could, ignore what I just said because that's not scientifically objective. I think there could be a potential based on the current evidence and statistical history in past crimes like this that the mother could very likely be involved. You know what I mean? I see more opportunity that she could have involvement than she could not. So I just feel like the scales of justice are tipped a little bit against her. You know what I mean? From the lying in the morning, the giving. Listen, traditionally, when we see a traumatic situation going on and there is somebody looking for another person, or the victim, their family member is speaking, a lot of times they don't give closed-ended answers where they're like, no, she didn't have her phone, but that's common for her to leave it here. She does it all the time. You know what I mean? That is a very closed-ended answer where you're not leaving any options or opportunity for law enforcement to wonder and think, could there be evidence on this phone? Should I be searching and checking everything? That is a very uncommon thing to see in situations like this. Normally, you would see she did forget her phone sometimes, but I don't know. It's worth looking into it. It's worth, you know what I mean? Like, that's the more common answer you see. And almost every question that was given to her mother was closed-ended. Like, no, that can't happen because of this. No, that can't happen because of this.
Really
no,
weird.
She didn't run away because of this. No, she didn't do this because of this. It was very off-putting. It was very closed-ended. It was very against what we normally see in situations like this, where you have a parent panicking and wanting the help and wanting everybody to look in every possible place and thing 25 times over.
Right. I agree with you. And one thing that I also found really odd is I found out, you guys, the 911 calls have been released in this case, and she never called 911. It wasn't her that called. It was a family member, like her sister or something like that. I'm sorry, but if I went to go pick up my kid from school and they weren't there and the school had no idea where they were, I'm calling 911 right then and there. I don't know why you would start going around and searching and then tell your sister to call 911. Like, it's really bizarre to me. And then the statements that didn't make sense, her disappearing after that, the fact that there's a bunch of rumors and people who knew Stefan coming out and saying that they weren't together anymore and that he came back to stay there in the guest bedroom because he just missed Maddie.
I can look, but I don't
really
think
bizarre.
I blocked you on purpose. Let me verify. So I haven't blocked anybody in a very long time, you guys, like very long time. So I will look. I'll look. But I'm sorry. What? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I don't know. I said that it was really weird to me that she didn't call 911 and that
the 911
there
call.
were
Okay.
there was that friend of Stefan Stern's that said they weren't together anymore and that they had been broken up for a while actually, and he came back to stay in the guest bedroom, and apparently he was at his parents' house before this or something. Like, he was technically not supposed to be living with them anymore, but he was staying in the guest bedroom because he missed Maddie.
Yeah, YouTube has been trying to reduce our visibility. But no, I agree with you 100%. And I have no idea why somebody would do that. Because look,
that's really bizarre.
We have innate natural responses as human beings, okay? And they are repetitive. They are you can expect to get the same response in most humans that have empathy and are not sociopaths, okay? So when you see a situation like this, the mother is not freaking out, did not call 911. It's strange. It doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. It's not understandable why you go searching just nonchalant to find your child. Look, I hope this case isn't done. I hope this case is not done.
I mean, I don't think it is. So Fox 35 tried to reach out to Jennifer Soto, and they're the ones who originally did the Zoom call interview with her, and her phone number is disconnected. She disconnected her phone number so that nobody would be able to reach her.
Really? I mean,
she's literally went like off the grid.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand that.
I know a lot of people feel a lot of ways about Jennifer Soto. I have no idea what to think. I just know there's a lot of red flags there, and that there's a huge possibility that she knew more than she was letting on.
Yeah.
And I don't know how manipulative Stefan Stearns was. I don't know if he was abusive to her, but I've seen and heard many people who have grown up in a situation where their mother turned their back and looked the other way when bad things were happening to them from a stepfather or, you know, someone close to them in the family, because they didn't want to face that reality or some other weird trauma of their own. And unfortunately, I think that might be the situation that was going on here, and it ended with Maddie being gone, and it's horrible and tragic.
Yep, I agree with you. I just want to
go. This is a horrible case.
I agree. I just want to go back to what I was saying, Angel. So, I don't know if you're blocked. I will find out. I did not block you, and the reason why I can't go in right now and unblock you like I just did to I'm already having an ADHD moment.
Another person.
Yeah,
you don't.
The other
doesn't
user.
matter.
I forget. The reason why I can't do that right now is because we have another person that manages this whole issue that we're having right now, with our views and ads and videos and the manipulation and all that stuff. But they haven't been in there, you know, handling certain things a certain way for quite some time. So I just want to verify and make sure, but otherwise I will go in there and look through the list of 1,000 people that's in there and try and find it and see if you're still blocked. So I apologize. I'm glad you have another account hop on here. But yeah, I just need to check with somebody before I do that. The other viewer, I blocked them literally right now. Like, so I know because I was the one who did it. All right. Yeah, I think it's an absolutely horrible case. I wonder if there's more to it. One thing to remember, though, is that our minds, we automatically go to the worst case possible, okay? It's built in us. It is built within our human nature to expect the worst outcome. So when we see a case like this, when we see a situation like this, we automatically, as time goes on and the situation is prolonged, as we wait for court, as we wait for more charges to come, as we find out more tidbits of information here, there, and other, it feels like it seems worse and worse and worse and worse. But a very real possibility is that law enforcement has already been on top of this and is on top of this and knows what's going on and is waiting for the look. For those of you that didn't know, if I was to commit a homicide and then I immediately went in to 5150 myself, which is a California term for checking myself into a mental health 72 or 30 day hold, 72 hour or 30 day hold, the law enforcement cannot come in there and arrest me. They cannot. They have to wait till I'm released. So what they would end up doing is is call and find out when I'm going to be released and then pick me up from there. So is there a possibility that there's pending charges and she is just behind, HIPAA? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the update. Again, they said that he is supposed to be in court, like his first court appearance is going to be within the next couple days. I don't know what the official date is on that yet. I don't know that it's even been set yet. The only dates that were officially said is the pretrial hearing, which is July 10th, and the trial date, which is August 19th. But I'm going to keep an eye on it because I really want to know, I want to see that. I want to see his first day in court every time he has not showed up to court.
Yeah.
Which so far has been allowed, but it comes to a point where he can't just not show up.
I mean, yeah.
He's going to have to show up eventually.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, there comes a time where you can't get around it for sure.
I'm not gonna dive into this case, but I will mention, you remember the Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly case? With the two moms that were they went missing, their car was found with pools of blood and Oklahoma. Okay.
Yep. With the
and Kansas
cult belief, whatever.
The God's Misfits. Well, there's been a fifth guy arrested. It's
good.
Paul Grice. He was talked about in the affidavits when the first four were arrested, and he's got all the same charges. That's 5 people. And there's also been a bunch of speculation because there's been no guns found in this case, you guys. And everyone assumed originally that they were shot. But remember I mentioned there was a hammer?
Mm-hmm.
It's now believed that they were stun gunned and then literally hammered.
Jeez.
Horrible. Like, so awful.
Yeah. Gosh.
But yeah, if you guys want us to look into anything with that case, definitely let us know. It's been kind of a big case, but I feel like there's been bigger that, like, I want, you know what I mean? It's hard. We got to pick what time we put in where, and what you guys want us to talk about too. We got to take that into account. So
absolutely,
if you do want to hear more on this God Misfits case, the Veronica Butler and Jillian case, definitely let us know.
Yes. So do you have any other updates for any other cases? Because like I said in the beginning, you guys, I do not right now because I have zero time to watch anything as we're going through this purchase.
I don't know what is going on in the Rex Heuermann case because I haven't been paying a ton of attention to it. I've got to be honest, but I just saw this headline come out that Gilgo Beach murder cops search new location and shock plot twist just days after Rex Heuermann's lawyer pointed the finger at disgraced police chief. Cops are reportedly sweeping wooded area in Maynardville, New York. It's a new search that's underway. It says they started searching on Tuesday and it's continuing through Wednesday. The Suffolk County District Attorney has declined to comment on the search. But I don't know what's going on here. I don't know why they are searching this area. I don't even know if there's an explanation or not.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that they're suddenly searching a new area. Did he confess to something? Did they find new evidence? Like, what's happening here? Yeah, I don't see any explanation at all right now.
I mean, look.
I know Asa Ellerup has been showing up to the court hearings, though.
I don't know if most people realize how Rex Heuermann, like how much of a classic serial killer he is.
He is a very classic one.
Yeah, when we talk about classic serial killers, and what I mean by that are the ones that caused our society to have an insane amount of interest in them, to where we have books, where we have movies, where we have scientific psychology breakdowns, where we have full-length shows that are some of the that have helped promote true crime in general. Okay. But he is that model that we saw from the 60s, 70s, 80s. I'm sure they go back even further than that, but the FBI focuses and has a ton of experience when it comes to serial killers, you guys. So when they see a crime and a crime scene or find a victim of a serial killer, they can tell based on how successful and how their work was on that victim, how much experience they have. Obviously, it's not like they can look at a victim and say, oh, this person has done this 12 times before. But they can look at a victim and be like, oh, they were very comfortable and confident when they were doing this, when they were doing that. They were they had a total control of their emotions and feelings and was planning ahead of time to make sure they did this, 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 and this. Okay. And that's what we're seeing with Rex Heuermann is we see somebody who had their method down. We see somebody who was repetitive in nature for every victim that we found. And we see an older man. Will you look up how old Rex Heuermann is? Rex Heuermann will have, as a serial killer, had these urges for years and years and years and years, you guys. So more than likely,
60.
I think he's 60. Yeah, he's 60.
Okay, so I know I have a little bit of an explanation.
60.
Not why the search is happening, but I do have like some background a little bit on what this title was talking about. So recently there was a procedural hearing in the case on April 17th, where they talked about a bunch of the devices and evidence seized from those devices. Well, you know, his wife was there. I find it really interesting. She claimed she had breast cancer, and now suddenly we just don't hear anything about her breast cancer anymore. And she's always pulling up in Mercedes, and you know, she's got this documentary deal. It's very fascinating, and is divorcing him, but thinks he didn't do it. Yeah. Anyway, Huerman's lawyer is now trying to blame the murders on the disgraced police chief, James Burke.
Yeah,
that's
sure.
the defense angle is I'm sure that they're going to try to say it was that police chief, which we know turned the FBI away from this case and didn't. That's why it took so long to have any break in the case at all, is because of this guy. So outside the courthouse after the hearing, Rex Huerman's attorney, Michael Brown, said that the ex-police chief, James Burke, was involved in this sordid affair. And they have pictures of him on here. Okay. So there were numerous leads that came into Suffolk County Police Department suggesting that Chief Burke was involved in this. He lived a double life involving crack, cross-dressing, and relationships with prostitutes. He pled not guilty to several offenses, including assault, public lewdness, and unlawful solicitation after flashing in a park during a court appearance in September of last year. He was previously convicted and jailed on federal charges for beating a handcuffed man suspected of stealing pornography, sex toys, and other items from his department SUV. The scandal also toppled the county's longtime district attorney and the county's top corruption prosecutor, who were convicted of helping Burke cover up the beating. So that's interesting. So they're trying to literally point the finger at James Burke and say he is the serial killer, not Rex Huerman.
I don't think the Q&A is working, which is weird. Okay. That's really strange. But say that again. I'm sorry.
They're just literally saying it was James Burke. Like, that is their defense strategies, the third-party culprit defense, basically, that it was this corrupt James Burke police chief guy.
Yeah. I mean, that's an easy third-party defense to lean on, because we know how bad that guy looks. Like, the amount of crime that he did, that we've covered is insane. I see your questions coming in, you guys. Thank you for testing that for us. Thank you. But yeah, it's an easy out. However, I'm super interested to hear what the reason is in the story, because I mean,
dude, there's so much evidence that, like, I get it. He's got to have a defense. If he's pleading, like, again, the client controls the direction that they're going. The lawyer just figures out how to get them there. Okay.
I mean, not always.
And to make sure. Always. I mean, yes, if you plead not guilty, your lawyer, even if it's obvious you're guilty, still have to give you a defense.
Yeah, but a good lawyer will tell you what is the best thing for you to do. Like this idea that I just want to clarify, because there's all this information around Bryan Kohberger right now. Like, Bryan Kohberger's the one leading his defense. That's not always the case, you guys. Okay. Most people that don't know legal, that don't know what it's like to be an attorney, is not in there telling their attorney, hey, I need you to submit this. I need you to request this. I need you to do this. I need you to do that. I need you to object to this. I need you to request the judge do this. Like, that's not what's happening. And that's how that statement sounds. They are most likely in there saying, hey, attorney, I'm pleading not guilty, so I need you to help me create the best defense for me. And the attorney is the one making the decisions and, you know, going where it needs to go.
Yeah, I that was pretty much my point. Was that they decide how to get there and they make the decisions on that stuff when it comes to the law. Like, obviously, if the client isn't a lawyer, they're not making those decisions, but they do decide the direction of their case. They absolutely do. They may be advised and told, like, you should go this way or this way, but it's ultimately, it is the client's choice. Which direction? That doesn't mean that they're making key decisions in the defense, like motions and all of that. That's separate. But
okay.
What is the problem?
Nothing.
I feel like we're both saying the same exact thing.
I mean, maybe. I don't. Maybe. I don't know. The way that you're presenting it, in my opinion, is just not how an attorney does things. But because again, it's not the defendant that's there to know what their options are. They're there to say, you know, I need you to do this. The attorney makes the decisions and does the defense.
Yeah, they're advised. I know they wouldn't know their choices. They'd be advised and then they would pick one.
Yeah.
The lawyer can't just take a plea agreement without the client's permission.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or plead guilty or not guilty for the client. They don't get to make those decisions. So the client picks the trajectory, the direction. The lawyer makes all the choices in between.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't. Yeah. I just don't. It wasn't that important, but we can move on. I didn't feel like we needed to agree. I gave the reason why I felt like the way you presented it was not beneficial for some of the cases that we were covering, is all I was saying. It wasn't, it didn't feel in good faith of the current cases we're covering.
It is good faith because that's how it works. And like, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but
that's implying something's wrong with it.
We can move on.
The client does pick the direction.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Absolutely.
Gotcha. All right. What else we got?
Did you take Rex Heuermann off? I mean, nothing. You can move on to your the cell data or something. I think that's what you were talking about earlier.
Rex Heuermann is a scary man, you guys.
He's terrifying.
His overall size, the width of his shoulders and his height and his weight, it is wild. It is absolutely wild. J. Ray, don't stir the pot or I'm going to have to delete this one. Absolutely wild how big he is. All right. So moving on to cell phone related topics. All right, you guys. So, how do I want to approach this? I just don't want. I guess I'll start off with questions.
Yeah, just start off with some questions.
Yeah.
You guys got questions on cell data? There's been a lot swirling when it comes to the Idaho4 Bryan Kohberger case.
Yeah, we have new document.
We'll read the document first. That's a good plan. But there's been a lot swirling when it comes to the cell data and the alibi. And literally every night for like the past 5 nights, I think. Like since the alibi came out, we've been touching on it, talking about it, and also taking questions to help people understand. So if you guys have a question, put it in the Q&A. If you can't get the Q&A to work, you can always put it in the comments. Just put an emoji with it, like the red alarm emoji, so that I know it's there, so that I could star it, so we can come back to it later.
Wait, say that one more time.
What?
What'd you just say about
if they can't utilize the Q&A, because some people have issues and can't access the Q&A, to put a red alarm emoji next to their question in the regular chat, so that I can star it and we can go back to it.
Okay.
Just in case. It would be way better in the Q&A section, and you're more likely to get it answered in that section. But if you can't get it to work, I'm just giving you that other option.
Yeah. No, listen, we don't want to put anyone in a timeout, but look, we're having to clean up our channel. So last month we let everybody say everything, but we've brought up certain topics that, you know, are really ridiculous. Like the whole, look how Brendan talks to her, he must be abusive. Like, it's just so ridiculous. It is so stupid. And it's people trying to make a stretch so that they can, you know, flag content or make a creator look bad, when, you know, neither of us have ever raised the voice. So if I see anybody trying to add to that, I will just ban you. You know, we got to clean it up. Okay. We're dealing with a lot of issues, and the investigation portion of these issues are done. So now we've been given the green light to clean it up. So, you know, there's certain things, if it's not objective and truth, and it is somebody trying to create some kind of subjective drama, and it could potentially negatively impact the channel, that is ban worthy. So, you know, I've always said I'll be upfront with everyone about everything. So, you know, that is the upfront. Nothing is opinion based, but if it could potentially impact the show poorly, then we can't let that happen to our viewers. We don't need moderators or anything like that. We just have people that have been here for a long time and are really unhappy with the negativity of the chat, and the very clear and obvious people who are trying to push the chat in a certain direction. So, you know, from the beginning, people have tried to like fish for us to get angry or whatever. And there's nothing you can say that's going to get me to bite. There's nothing you can say that's going to make us get angry, but we have to protect the show for the people that are watching, right? Because like how I feel about something, that doesn't matter. Like, that is not important. We're here for the science. We're here to dig. We're here to have a talk show. But you know, when it's impacting other people and people are trying to create narratives that are very obviously not true, you know, we got to get rid of those people. So just be aware. All right. So we have a new document, and that's just the warning. So
yes, thank you.
All right, new document, Idaho4. And when was this? When did this come out? Hang on.
Today.
Okay. Yeah, but is that what it says? Okay. So it says the 23rd.
Yep.
Okay, so 4/23/2024.
No, right. We weren't saying anybody has to be silent. That's not what we're saying. Don't feel like it's you. Just make sure you're not. All Brendan's talking about is people saying like, you know, oh, you're so abusive, or, you know.
No. I'm talking about people who are very clearly trying to control the narrative, you guys. And listen, if I was talking about you, I would have said you. That's why I named J Ray specifically, whereas I don't think J Ray meant it in a negative way. However, it adds to a negative direction of a topic being involved in this chat. So, you know, I would say your name directly if it was you. So it wasn't anybody, you guys. I just want to, we intentionally last month let it go crazy in here, okay? Because we needed a certain level of involvement, and we needed a certain level of data and information to take that investigation to, you know, the next level. So I just want to be very transparent with people on those specific topics. So be very careful, you know, because any topic that is intentionally trying to draw a change from the topic that we're currently covering, especially when it's something negative, like talking about, you know, something like that, like, oof, we just can't allow it, you guys. We appreciate you. We're just here to protect the viewers. That's all. I'm not offended by it or anything. All right. In the District Court of the 2nd Judicial District of the state of Idaho, in and for the county of Latah, state of Idaho versus Bryan C. Kohberger comes now. The state of Idaho by and through the Latah County prosecuting attorney requesting to close the May 14th, 2024 hearing regarding the defendant's 4th motion to compel and any hearing to be set for the defendant's 5th motion to compel. Interesting. If you guys remember, in the alibi, they're speaking directly about the 5th motion to compel at the very end there. This motion is made pursuant to Idaho Court Administrative Rule 32G and the likelihood that the state and the defense could be prejudiced by discussion or dissemination of information that has been stipulated to be filed under seal. Okay, so Exhibit A, gotcha. We don't have those exhibits, so move on here. There exists a compelling interest at stake to preserve a fair trial, and no reasonable alternative exists but to conduct a closed hearing. Okay, that's an interesting way to present your argument. Dude, it drives me crazy how Bill Thompson communicates in the courtroom. It is always like this, where he's assuming your decision for you. It is so passive aggressive. Like, there exists a compelling interest at stake to preserve a fair trial, and no reasonable alternative exists but to conduct a closed hearing.
I feel like that's just, yeah, it's controlling lawyer talk. It
is not basic lawyer talk.
I did not say basic. I said it's like controlling lawyer talk. Like they're persuading you.
No. I don't agree. No, that is like 1990s vacuum door-to-door salesperson tactics.
He's pretty old.
And the reason being is because intellectually, conversationally, we have evolved. Humanity has, okay? And at a time, maybe we weren't as evolved in our conversation in English as most people are now. So most people can read that and immediately pick up the fact that, look, this person is trying to create a single decision outcome. And this person is trying to, you know, make the person who's receiving this feel bad if they create another outcome. That's why we have, and no reasonable alternative exists but to conduct a closed hearing. Okay, that's not necessarily true. There are a lot of other reasonable outcomes, you know, and why that's messed up is because if the judge were to decide to do something else, Bill Thompson is calling him unreasonable. Is that unreasonable for a judge to do their job effectively to the best of their ability? I mean, would you consider that unreasonable?
No.
I don't either. That's why it's just a manipulative way to present it.
Yeah. That's why I said manipulative lawyer talk. Like, I feel like I understand his angle, but I see what you mean about it being passive aggressive and coming across crappy.
I mean, this angle is like kindergarten. You don't see the leading attorneys in the nation using these tactics.
Yeah,
this is like level 1 in becoming a salesperson. This is what you go to a used car lot, who those salespeople make, you know, very minimal commission. And that's the tactic, that high pressured sales. I don't know. I think it's really messed up. I just don't think it's beneficial to any case, and specifically the prosecution's narrative, you know?
Mm-hmm.
The state further motions the court for scheduling order setting May 3rd, 2024 for the defendant to file any notice of witnesses, exhibits, expert reports, or other evidence the defendant intends to rely on for the hearings regarding the 4th and/or 5th motions to compel. The state requests that the court afford the state an opportunity to respond to those initial disclosures, and such responses should be filed by May 10th, 2024. Bam. So what are you thinking? I feel like you're pretty quiet.
I just am tired of the secrecy in this case. You know, I posted this motion earlier to Twitter and I asked, like, does this have to do with the cast? Like, is this?
It does.
So in the alibi, we saw them say that there would be evidence that had to do with the alibi that would be subject to an upcoming 5th motion to compel. Well, this is referring to the 4th and the 5th motion to compel, and asking both hearings on these matters be closed to the public. So it makes me wonder, like, what are they not wanting to come out? Is it because the cast has not been done? Is it because the defense doesn't have the cast analysis?
Right,
like, is it have to do with other, you know, cell data and things surrounding the phone?
We'll read it again real quick here, just for people that might not have watched it last night. All right, so the last paragraph in the alibi, you guys: additional information as to Mr. Kohberger's whereabouts as the early morning hours progressed, including additional analysis by Mr. Ray, will be provided once the state provides discovery requested, and now subject to an upcoming motion to compel. Mr. Ray will be provided, including additional analysis by Mr. Ray will be provided once the state provides discovery requested, and now subject to an upcoming motion to compel. We knew that there was a motion that was supposed to be submitted to the defense on March 31st.
Wait,
that's
what?
why
March 31st, there's supposed to be what?
March 31st, the cast report, which is the totality of the cellular data, all geo-blending, all background app data, all GPS,
I thought
all
it was
cellular.
April 7th.
No, all cellular triangulation. That was supposed to be submitted March 31st, and then the defense had till April 10th to submit the alibi. That was the original hearing and the last time that we heard about the cast report. So I don't believe they have it.
So then why, like, I'm just wondering, if the defense didn't get the cast report, why would they submit the alibi? Why wouldn't they say, hello, they didn't turn over the cast report, so we're not giving you the alibi yet?
Because
this is the second time.
No, because they're dealing with social implications of Bryan Kohberger's character. Not only Bryan Kohberger, but also Ann Taylor. So no matter what the prosecution does, they are going to look bad by not doing their part, even if the prosecution is failing to do their own part. You know?
Okay.
So in my opinion, they're trying to control this. They're trying to control the social narrative. They're trying to control how the rest of America sees them. Because as we've seen, they've been dealing with character assassination. It happens in every major case, you guys. We see it in the Karen Reed case. We see it in the Delphi case. We see it in the Idaho4 case. We see it all over the place. All over the place. So, in my opinion, the visibility around this is very important. And I think the best thing that they could have done is exactly what we read there, is throw the prosecution under the bus. Look, we're giving you the alibi. We're giving you what the court has said we needed to give you, even though you didn't hold up your end and give us what we needed.
Yeah.
And then look what happened when his alibi came out. How many mainstream media places covered it?
Everywhere.
And how many covered it negatively?
Most.
Right.
The majority.
Right. Right. That's messed up, in my opinion.
Saying it's not an alibi at all.
Right. And putting him down because it talks about what he was doing or why he would be out late at night, as if looking at the stars is some stupid nerdy thing that only incels do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like that's evidence to convict him.
You can't get a girl,
looking
so
at
of
the
course
moon and
you're looking at
stars.
the stars. Like, that's so ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
It is so wild.
Yeah, agreed.
I got to use the restroom
ridiculous.
real quick, guys, and then we'll go into some of that cellular data if you want to give your opinion.
Yeah, so I have a question actually from another social media platform for Brendan when he gets back. But I did take a look, and I haven't got to finish it yet because I've been pretty busy today. But Twizzlestick in our chat, who's normally in our chat, sent me their footage of them driving to Wawaway Park. And it's posted to Dinky's channel if you guys want to check it out. It's on Dinky's channel. But it's interesting because when Twizzlestick drove out there, not only was there no service, but the gates were open at night. Interesting, right? Everybody keeps complaining about these gates, which the gates weren't an issue with me from the beginning, because for one, you could drive that whole area around there and it's gorgeous and you don't even need to enter that little park. But adding on those gates weren't closed at night, like how well have they been managing that? You know? Like how, like back in 2022, was it managed better? Like, are we going to hear testimony from somebody who oversees that park, like a park ranger or something? Just somebody claiming to have closed the gates that night is, I would really question that, because if it were me, I just feel like I wouldn't be able to remember that unless they have some kind of log. Hopefully they have a log of when they close the gate or not, but I'm guessing since it's just not being done nowadays, they probably don't. Unless something's gone downhill with the management of it. I am really not sure, but yeah, that was really, really interesting. And Twizzlestick also reminded me that there is a cell phone tower. So we've all seen, and I've totally forgot about this tower, but now I remember it now that he pointed it out. So we know there's the Paradise Ridge Tower as you're going down that highway south of Moscow. And then, you know, we all know the route supposedly Bryan Kohberger took. It's like this big U shape. Well, right in the middle of that U is another tower, and it's a decent sized one. So that kind of makes me wonder, could he have been picked up on that somehow? Could that have gotten the cell tower stuff, you know, him in over here when he was actually over here? Maybe. But I also wanted to mention that CAST analysis with the FBI, I keep hearing this narrative that it's just cellular triangulation, you know, cell data. But CAST is not only that. It's all location data involving a cell phone, meaning it can also be GPS. And I really think that is what Cyray is going to be using in this alibi, is GPS data. Because I think the cell tower data just isn't, I don't think it cuts it in this area. And I think he's going to try to use GPS.
I mean, I agree with you. And we talked about this in length last night, right? I agree with you because of that statement we read. I think that is very important in the alibi. I think too many people are looking over that or looking past that. That statement saying Mr. Ray, who is a cellular expert, will have more data once the motion to compel and information is given to them. What else could it be? It has to be the CAST report, you guys. So my assumption, based on my experience, right, and I am not a part of this case. I am not anything, okay? They brought on a cell expert, and there is a whole bunch of cellular data that is OSINT or open source. Okay, I should say the whole word. That is open source data. Open source data is fog data science and the like of it. Okay, that is background GPS data. That is metadata. That is application data where they can get it. Okay, that might be saved in iCloud, location services. If you go on a walk, you know how you can record the walk. Things like that, right? That is open source, meaning the general public has access to it. You know what isn't open source?
What?
Cell phone. It is not open source. It is a subscription-based service, and nobody can call up AT&T and be like, yo, AT&T, I need Bryan Kohberger's location. So I think you're onto something.
So we have an interesting question here, and it wasn't directed at us, but when I saw it, I wanted to bring it up because I wanted to ask you this question.
Okay.
And it was posted by a Rosie Laughlin on Twitter, and she shows these pictures of a tower. And it says, is this cell tower on I-195 and Johnson Cutoff Road? Like, is it a cell tower, and is it used by a public cell phone provider? It doesn't show up on any cell tower finder maps that I can find. If it is a cell tower, is that because it's not FCC registered? And she shows pictures of it.
I need to see it. Can I pull that up and show it? Where's that on?
It's in our bookmarks on Twitter.
Okay, where?
Press bookmarks. All bookmarks. Right there. Just click on the tweet. Click on it again. You want to fully open? No.
What? Why not?
I mean, don't you want to fully open up the whole tweet so that there?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I guess we could
just zoom in.
Okay. Okay. Bryan Kohberger, is this a cell tower at I-95, 195 and Johnson Cutoff Road? And is it used by public cell phone providers? It doesn't show up on any cell tower finder maps, and I can't find if it's a cell tower. Is that because it is not FCC registered? This doesn't look complete to me.
It doesn't look complete?
Is this a new tower? I need to pull up.
So you see that blue, the two blue ones, that's the ones we know about. So there's one in the middle of that U that Bryan Kohberger makes, and then there's one off to the right that's Paradise Ridge, and then that red dot is where she's finding that one.
Yep.
Is there a such thing as providers using non-FCC registered towers?
No.
No?
Mm-mm.
So then what would that be for?
I mean, I wish I had a closer look at these right here.
You can't, it won't let you zoom in at all?
No, I won't be able to tell.
Okay, so maybe look on Google Maps. You think it will let you zoom in on Google Maps?
No, it won't. I can find out. I just can't find out this very second.
Okay. So this is, we're going to have to investigate.
Yep. I'll be able to get confirmation though. 100% for sure. So all towers are registered, you guys. Is this 2? Yeah, okay. So this is wrong right here.
What?
This is the same tower. It says 2 registered. So remember, you guys, a lot of times when you're looking up what's it called? Like cell phone company specific information, you will see that like, oh, there's an AT&T tower or a Verizon tower or a T-Mobile tower or US Cellular tower or whatever tower, and they use each other's towers. You guys, they use each other's towers. So I need to do a little bit of research to get confirmation on this, but I will absolutely find out. So just hang tight and I will figure it out. I wish I could give you an answer right now. Sorry, I can't right this second.
That's okay.
Okay, so 70 again.
Yeah, and Twizzle, I'm not sure. You were saying, I think I know exactly what. Okay, you were wondering about this too. I think I know how the RTS can make Moscow PD think he was south of Moscow. Just either put it in a question or like send it in an email or we Discord or something.
Yeah, and we could do a deep dive into the cell tower again, you guys. That's something we can do. I haven't done what would essentially be a cast report, okay? As long as you have the experience and the knowledge, you absolutely can do your own cast report. But
okay,
I need to look into that. So I see somebody in there saying it looks like a telecommunication tower. You're right. It does look like a telecommunication tower. However, that engulfs a lot of different things. So a lot of people don't realize that GPS, our global positioning system, uses towers like this. They use towers like this. There is also television services or radio. Yeah, exactly. You said it perfect. So television and radio. There are a whole bunch of reasons you could have other towers out there that are not registered with the FCC for cellular services. So I'll definitely look into that for sure. Okay, so one of the topics I want to cover, just because some of our viewers suggested it, okay, is I think Get a Clue did another video talking about this science, and you know, he was he was doing his Get a Clue thing, and he was like, he was going so hard, man, saying and look, I don't have time to watch videos, so I watched like 10 minutes of it, okay? And I apologize. I wish I could. I don't mean any disrespect with it. I just don't have the time. But he was talking about the cellular data, and he was, I don't know if he was joking or not, but he was like, you know, we definitely aren't the same if you think that this science is trustworthy, and suggesting like people that think this science is trustworthy can't continue down the same path that he's on. I think it was satire, you guys, like a lot of his content is. And the reason why is because Get a Clue has looked at things very objective. He's looked at things scientific. And by telling people, if you don't agree with me, we can't collaborate, work together. That's just the opposite of what science is, right? That is the logical fallacy that we pulled up the other night. I forget which logical fallacy it is, but anyways, it was probably satire from him. I'm not sure, but I think it's okay to believe that. The reason why I'm bringing this up is not to talk specifically about Get a Clue, okay? Is the topic at hand here. So science is repeatable, okay? That using this kind of data and science is it's using numerical values, right? So is Get a Clue wrong when he's saying that cellular has falsely convicted people?
No, he's not wrong.
I agree he's not wrong. I agree he's not wrong.
It has.
It absolutely has been used to falsely convict people, to cause issues and be manipulated and lied with. However,
but so has every other piece of evidence that's ever existed.
Exactly.
Any scientific evidence has been manipulated to falsely convict people in the past.
Yeah, that doesn't make it subjective, okay? That makes the person that's presenting it manipulative or a flat out liar, okay? That's it, right? So is the truth the whole truth if you're only giving 50% of it? I don't believe so. I think in order to have the full truth, you have to understand the full scope of the situation. So if you have experts coming into court and using cellular data to locate somebody on a map with triangulation, but only giving 50% of the information to make the person listening to their expert testimony see the situation a certain way, that does not make the science flawed. That makes the expert flawed. That makes the argument flawed, not the science, okay? This science is not arguable. It's just like math, okay? 2 + 2 = 4. Nobody can argue that objectively and logically, okay? Right?
2 + 2 = 4?
Right. There is no room for subjectivity in that.
No, right.
These are our social definitions of what numerical values are and what they equate to for our society, right? We all know what 2 is. When somebody says 2, we all know exactly what they're talking about. We all know what the plus sign is, okay? When somebody says plus, everybody knows what we're talking about. We all know what the equals sign is, right? When someone puts an equal sign, we all know what we're talking about. Like, there is no subjectivity there. These things are a concrete part of our communication and English and the world's mathematical systems. So there is no room for adjustment, subjectivity, or anything in between there. Right? So I think any science that is able to give concrete numerical values, in my opinion, is concrete science. Now, the only part that's going to be manipulated or abused to convict somebody is if somebody's lying or not giving the honest breakdown of the situation. So I would say the science is concrete. The people presenting it are not.
Right.
So, you know, I Get a Clue knows we appreciate his content, and we've had banter back and forth, and we don't always agree. So like I said, I assume just because he's pretty objective and everything. I know everyone has their own opinion and all that, but you know, we appreciate and respect him. If we didn't, we wouldn't bring up his name on here. Okay. We wouldn't ever say his name, period. So, and I think it's okay to agree to disagree and everything, but I just want to be able to give my opinion of the situation because I think it's very important. I think that for me, at least, you guys, I'm just looking to find out if Bryan Kohberger is innocent or guilty. I don't think it's fair for to be handed a folder and be told that here's 20% of what should be in this folder. Now come to a conclusion of what this folder is about based with only 20% of the value.
I also want to mention, because I find it fascinating, this Michael Cherry of Cherry Biometrics guy. I find him fascinating. And the work he's done has been incredible, it seems. But on his website, I just want to read this part, you guys, because I think it's important, and it speaks to what we were speaking about last night, which was when 2G and 3G were a thing, it was much more unreliable because of the widespread distance those frequencies were going. It was in excess of 100 miles. And it was affected by weather and things like that back then. So I wanted to bring this up because it's important for what you talked about last night. So this is where they're talking about who they are. It says, we are former IEEE members of 9 years who went in the courtroom. We're also early Apollo 11 analysts and programmers who taught college mathematics and who consulted at both AT&T and Bell Labs. We have found the years between 2000 and 2015 to have an abundance of courtroom cell tower misunderstandings. That's the years he highlights, is 2000 to 2015. Specifically.
Yeah.
Is the years he highlights for misunderstandings in the courtroom when it comes to cell data.
Yep. Well,
I think that's important. Like, these are the years when 2G and 3G were still around.
Yeah, I guess I think it's important. Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly what we talked about last night.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it is good.
Because he is the one who claimed it was junk science, right?
Who?
This guy, Michael Cherry, was saying that cell tower data was junk science, but he's saying it between his website wouldn't say between those years if he wasn't specifically trying to highlight those years as the years with issues.
Okay.
He's highlighting those years for a reason.
Yeah. All right. So, no, and I think that's good evidence. So I wanted to bring this up because as we're talking about it here, right? So, 3 hours ago, we posted a question. Okay. A poll. Idaho4, what is the range of a cellular tower? We have 6 people that put 150 miles. We have 6% of people. We have 21% of people who put 50 miles. We have 18% put over 10 miles. And we have 25% who put under 10 miles. Interesting for sure.
So what? You're not going to say the correct range?
So currently, okay. Currently, the range of a cell phone tower is under 10 miles. With a maximum of like 15, okay? But it's when we're talking about the general average and breakdown of network towers in the US, it is under 10 miles.
Oh, I thought it was going to be, that's why I was confused, because I thought it was 20.
No.
I thought it was 20 or under.
Yeah, it's actually under 10 miles. So 150 miles is true for 2G.
Okay.
2G, and the 2G network hasn't been around, I think, for like 10 years, you guys, but I need to verify that. Now 50 miles would be true when we had 3G networks. 3G was turned off in 2022. It was officially turned off on all carriers in December of 2022, but most turned it off in the beginning of 2022. 3G towers could go a distance of 50 miles. Now, 4G can go over 10. We have 4G LTE, 5G ultra capacity, and 5G, what's the other 5G? There's one other 5G network, but it's is it DC or something like that? I'm not sure. But anyways, the 4G towers in our current towers have a range of roughly about 1 to 8 miles.
Okay.
1 to 8 miles.
And you said the max of 15?
Yeah. So I'm giving you averages based on all networks in the USA. Okay. Now, there are situations where you have towers that are placed up on a hill where they can go a little bit further.
Okay, so some could go like 20?
Yeah, but you're talking one-off situations.
Okay.
Yep.
I could have swore last night you said 20.
No.
Or maybe you were just using that as an example and not an exact number, because you do that a lot. And then I get confused.
All right, so I just searched what's the range of a 4G network tower. Let's see here. Does this tell me? No. Okay.
I'm trying to find a diagram.
Yeah, something that I can show.
What's
people.
that blue one? Is that blue one tell you?
Yeah,
no.
But this is going to talk about
not
the
really.
difference in, this is going to confuse people because you have a difference of like the gigahertz millimeter.
Do you want me to create our own diagram really quick?
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I feel like you need to come up with your own teaching aids.
Yeah,
like own diagrams that you can pull up.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do that for you. You just tell me what to put on them and I'll make them.
Yeah, I know. We really should. We really should. So that every time we're talking about this, we have like a quick guide to pull it up.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like a PowerPoint. Yeah.
Yeah. And just to clarify, you guys, like what I was talking about with Get a Clue, if Get a Clue is watching, you know, like we appreciate you. I wasn't saying anything offensive or anything
yeah,
like
we're
that.
not. Yeah, we're not ever trying to attack you. I've appreciated Get a Clue's input in a lot of situations.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So
we're just trying to be objective and help learn and, you know.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so what next?
So I'm letting the questions build up here, but okay. Sorry, it took me. Okay, I have some questions. Now this is interesting. this is going to take us. Actually, I should save that for tomorrow because. All right. Someone said that I said last night that the background apps, right? Because we're talking about metadata, that metadata and background application data. And they said, Brendan, you said background apps do track you while the phone is off. That's a really important topic I want to bring up. So I need to clarify that, everybody. So I didn't say they do track you. I said they can track you. Okay, those are two very different things. Whereas they have the ability to track your location with the phone off. That does not mean that all of them do that.
Right. Okay. But like, okay, can you give an example of a situation where an app could track you when your phone's off?
I mean, like, what do you mean an example? I don't know how you could give an example, because my example would be your phone is off and you're getting the location of you.
Yeah, like you said, it depends on the settings.
Yep.
You said it depends on the applications you've approved.
It does. Yep. Because every application has different commands and prompts for the device that you're downloading it on. So I don't know what all those are. But if you have an app and you've given the app the approval to command your device to turn on or be able to get battery from it while it's in off mode, then it would be able to give a location. So are there apps out there that can do that? Yes, they are out there and they can do that. That does not mean all apps are doing that. When your phone's off, unless you have an app that specifically has those commands, then your phone is off. I just thought that was an important one because I think that could scare people. So I was like, oh, I better correct that.
So how could you even check to prevent something like that?
Go through your apps and make sure that all your apps have really high ratings and have a lot of comments on them, that a lot of people are using them, because the really dangerous apps are apps that are not being used on a regular basis. Because any invasive apps that are put out there. So just so you know, like if I had the technology to create an application, and there is AI type technology out there that is used to create an application in minutes, okay, I could create a viral app, okay, and that app would function similar to a virus on your device, and you would download that app, and you would have to hit accept all, right, to use that app and download it, and it would give access to your device that you might not know without reading all that small print.
Oh, interesting. And do you see that comment about the new iPhone?
What?
That the new iPhone never really like turns off. It doesn't go off until the battery is out of the back. iPhone can track you even when it's got 45% left, and then you turn it off.
Yeah. iPhone is one of them that, yes, you apps, and almost anybody can remote turn on their device. In order to remote turn on their device, there has to be a recognition of the device.
So I'm wondering, is there a way to test it, like by like I could leave only 5% left on my battery, power my phone down, and then leave it to sit, and if when I come back to it like a few hours later and it's dead, that means something was using a little bit of battery on my phone?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you can also look at your battery usage in your devices. So every electronic device will give you a breakdown of like what's using your battery, and that would be able to tell you too. Yeah. All right. So another one here. we have, and I want to clear this up. So wouldn't Bluetooth on Bryan Kohberger's car be able to show where he is by the Bluetooth in his car stereo or his car's mapping system or OnStar or AAA? If he has any of those in his car, I would think that they wouldn't need his phone to get the data. So yes, in a situation like that, you are correct if he had any of those. However, we know that he did not have those things. And we know for a fact that his car didn't have a GPS chip in it, because all GPS chips have to be registered with the federal government, since the GPS system, global positioning system, is owned by the government, the federal government. They have to track, they get to track every GPS chip that's out there. So great question. I think it's an awesome question, but yeah, that he didn't have any of that type of software in his car. Unfortunately, I wish he did.
I mean, if he's innocent, I'm sure he wishes it too. I know I would. If I was innocent and I was nowhere near that crime scene that night, I would definitely wish I allowed my electronics to track me more and had tracking software on my car.
I agree.
That would make it so much easier to prove that you weren't there.
Yeah. We actually posted 3 surveys too, you guys. So I see there's quite a few answers on the survey under the community tab for the what is the range of a cellular tower. But there's also one that was 2G, 3G cellular service active during the crime. We also have, do you believe the alibi will have enough supporting evidence to prove whereabouts? I'm just curious for the social aspects of those, like where the general consensus in the true crime community is currently. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting for sure.
It is interesting.
Bryan Kohberger, why didn't you just get a car that has...
Well, I know. That's the thing about his car. His car has no digital anything, you guys. It didn't have Bluetooth for a phone. It didn't have satellite radio. It didn't have anything that could record or hold information. And it didn't have a GPS chip to track his location. Meaning that car is totally a dead end.
Yeah.
It doesn't have any tracking anything or way of retaining information or memory. So it's literally like he had a phone that he could plug an aux cable into, okay? And play through the stereo. It didn't collect information from his phone or do anything like that. It was very old-fashioned, old school setup radio, you know?
Yeah.
Radio, CD player, aux cord. Like that's all you got.
And just a reminder, you guys, too, if you would please hit that thumbs up button, hit that like button, leave a rating no matter what platform you're on, any of the 7 or 8, I forget, I meant to count so I knew, any of the 7 or 8 platforms we're streaming on. Give us a rating and leave a comment, and we would appreciate you forever for that. The reason why we're growing so fast is all because of you guys. The reason why you know, our knowledge in any of these cases is growing is all because of you guys. You guys are awesome, and you guys are the reason we are here. Okay. And we're gonna keep at it no matter what. We got that 5-year plan, and no matter what happens with the channel, ups, downs, and others, we're gonna be here and we're gonna continue learning together. So that is the basis consensus of Thought Riot Podcast. So please hit that thumbs up. Give us some love. All right. So other questions here. What do you think of Cy Ray's response to the question about metadata? Wait, did you talk about that? I don't think I've read that yet. I saw some people asking about that, but I don't think I saw that. So Cy Ray's response about metadata.
What response?
I'm not sure. What did I miss here? Would it be possible for Bryan Kohberger to clone his phone to a burner phone and leave his original phone somewhere else? So real quick, you guys, we have a good amount of people. We have some thousands of people on right now watching, but it looks like on YouTube we have a little over like 300 or something. But what I wanted to say is, for all the other people that are on all the other platforms, if you see us responding to comments like we do quite a bit on the True Crime Talk Show, we are responding to the YouTube chat. Okay, the YouTube chat is primarily where we have people engaging in conversation in the chat. So we can see YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook on here, but it's YouTube that is the that has the most people on it chatting. So if you would like to chat, go to youtube.com and search Thought Riot Podcast, spelled all the way out. Thought Riot Podcast, spelled all the way out, and then you can come hang out in the chat with everyone else. All's Well That Ends Well wrote to Cy-Ray. Oh,
and it's in a comment that they left to you.
Oh shoot. Okay, I need to go search it. I'm sorry. I will. Okay, you tagged me. Hang on. Let me see real quick, you guys. Let me see if I can find it on tag. Give me a sec.
Well, if it's
okay.
No. Oh, wait.
Okay. Hang on here.
This says Translucent wrote him. Is this what you guys are talking about? Oh, Translucent 40 seconds ago. Okay, thank you. You're making it available to us. Okay.
Okay, here we go, guys. Thank you for that. We appreciate that big time. Thank you. Okay. Has Cy been able to get GPS off metadata? Inquiring minds want to know. This episode used cell signals, but what if the perp was more skilled? Oh, is this him?
Yes. Socialite Crime Club is his podcast. Yes.
Yes, it is possible, but not an absolute. Lots of settings within a phone people can change that affect what data can even be captured by the metadata. But there is always another way. You just have to look harder, try harder, get out of the box. Sometimes it is right in front of your face, but you can't see it. Then someone else sees it, points it out, and bam, everything changes. I wonder who he's talking about. Did you watch our content, Cy-Ray? I'm just kidding. That's just my
lots of
overly
settings
large head
within a phone.
So this is exactly what we talked about the other day, you guys. People
can change that affect what data can.
Yeah, we've talked about this. So here's an example, okay? So that we don't have to use terminology that people don't understand. So metadata is just the background details. Like it's not coding, it's not anything like that. It is the background details of a photograph. So let's say you took a picture on your phone, okay? And then you, excuse me, I'm sorry. Then you open up that picture and you go to the settings and you look at the details of that picture. And on that picture, it will give you the date that it was taken. It will give you the device that took it. It will give you the latitude and longitude. Jeez. Over 100. It will give you the latitude and longitude. It will give you the camera and the settings that you're using.
Okay.
That's a lot of marketing. So, but what we talked about the other night, okay, is that in iPhone alone, you can go into the settings and change the metadata. However, in iPhone, when you change the metadata, it tells you that that metadata was changed. However, There are applications out there that allow you to upload videos and pictures and alter that metadata or erase it completely. Does that make sense? Does everyone understand that? So so he's right. What he's saying is 100%. That is correct.
Okay, but what about like you can't see it, but then like you got to get out of the box, try harder, and then someone will point it out, and then bam, everything changes.
Look, network data there are so many different areas, okay? We've already used a million different terms. Background app data, picture data, application step tracking, accelerometer data, GPS data, Wi-Fi connectivity data, Bluetooth connectivity data, iCloud location data, dating app GPS data, cell phone triangulation data. Like these are all things that could give you a location of somebody. Pictures. So that was 12 just off the top of my head. I think it was 12. I wasn't really keeping count, but that's 12 ways to get a location just off the top of my head without even doing any research at all. Okay. So there's probably 10 times that amount out there.
Okay.
So what he could be talking about is maybe he was searching and trying to figure out and search it and realized, like, by watching other content or listening to other experts or asking questions that, oh my gosh, how did I forget to look at the details of an app? How did I forget to look at the metadata of a picture? How did I forget to do this or that or the other thing?
Okay.
Do I think this answer gives us anything? No. I wish it did, but I don't think it does.
No, but it's interesting.
But it makes sense.
Yeah, and thank you.
It tracks.
Thank you for sharing that with us. All's well that ends well. We appreciate that. Somebody asked, and I'm also curious about this, how easy is it to tell when metadata has been manipulated? Are there cases where you cannot tell?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's cases you can't tell. Absolutely. I could take metadata right now on anything and make it to where nobody could tell.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Okay, I'll be right back.
So when it comes to investigations, though, like, okay, the metadata, like, you can verify it's real or not. I guess let me say that. So if I took a picture, I could alter the metadata and send it to you, okay, whoever I'm pointing at, I could send it to you, and you wouldn't be able to tell that I changed the metadata. But could somebody that is skilled in looking in it be able to tell? Yes, you could upload the software and look for the changes, right? So let's say I took a picture on April 20th and changed the metadata and sent it on April 24th, and the metadata says that the picture was taken on the 24th, okay? Well, you could look for clues in that to tell when that picture was actually taken. And all right, Bryce coming through with a super chat. By fraud case has been so helpful in metadata. Oh, I think you told us about that. Your personal fraud case. Yeah. That's interesting that the civil will let you use data like that. Normally, civil doesn't allow it unless you're trying to, I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't know. It's not like I have a ton of legal experience, you know? So, yeah, that's interesting. It's interesting for sure. Yeah, I could see that. I know that I've had 2 legal cases, and both of them actually used metadata, but it's not what you think. Like it wasn't a civil case and it wasn't a criminal case. It was something different, but both of them used metadata actually. But the metadata wasn't the evidence. The video was the evidence, and the metadata was just used to confirm. So, okay, going back here, would it be possible for Bryan Kohberger to clone his phone to a burner phone and leave his original phone somewhere else? Yes, that is possible. However, cloned phones show both phones on the cell phone triangulation map or cellular network map. Both phones would be able to be seen. So I think that they would be able to know is what I'm getting at. They would know something was up. Is what I mean. They would know something was up. Okay, let me see here. So is my phone just giving up and I'm going to have to buy a new one, or why do you think that's happening? The only thing I can do. So phones do stop working. Remember, this industry evolves so fast, you guys, so fast that the internet can't keep up with it. Search engines can't keep up with it. Google can't keep up with relevant information. DuckDuckGo can't keep up with relevant information. Yahoo search can't keep up with relevant information. So phones are set up for whatever network you're on, whether it's a satellite phone or whatever, at that time. And as the network changes, whatever network you're on, you know, it's not going to be able to keep up with the newer technology always. Like there's a certain time that network updates stop working on your device. That's a good question, and I wish I knew the answer. How was the first phones, mobile ones you carried in a bag? How reliable were they back then for tracking? I actually heard they were really reliable because the way that they used a network was very different than the way that they currently use the network. So they were, gosh, I know that I've been told this before and I just don't remember. Maybe it was satellite only. I need to look into that. But the first phones were like the bag phones and the phones in the cars. And I don't know a whole bunch about cell phone stuff, but the networks are all the same. All wireless networks are the same, you guys. Even GPS and cellular, very similar. Different, but very similar. How long are pings able to be detected? As long as as long as whatever service is saving them, however long they save them for. Once there's a ping, that ping is is saved in a database somewhere. In that database, it's going to keep that information as long as it's set to keep that information. I personally think they should. So we know in the Idaho4 case, they did a data dump. We know that they did a data dump. And in that data dump, they did not see Bryan Kohberger's phone, right? They didn't see Bryan Kohberger's phone. But in my opinion, they should have looked into all the phones in that area, at least using fog data science. I wish I could have gave you a better answer, James. I wish I could have. I just don't remember that for sure. I see some people asking about what if you forward your calls to another device. I've wondered that too, you guys. I have wondered that too. Now, I would assume that there's two ways to do call forwarding. Call forwarding could be initiated on the device that you're using, or it could be initiated through whatever your carrier is, right? And within that, I think if you did it by your carrier or whatever network you're on, like if you're on Cricket or so carrier, yeah, sorry, I'm getting my terms mixed up. Whatever carrier you're using, then that should be saved. But if you do it through a manufacturer setting, I don't know if that would be saved. If you had a phone and you took this phone and used your manufacturer settings to forward that number to a burner phone, would we be able to, we would see the original phone getting a call, but would it show that went to another device? I don't know. I think that's a great question, but I don't know. Bryce Jones coming through, 51 terabytes of Bryan Kohberger looking at the moon and stars. Now, that would be hilarious if there was 50 terabytes of moon and stars.
All, like, say he has some kind of telescope that takes pictures.
Oh, it would be hilarious.
And it's all photography and videos and things about, you know, the YouTube channel that they got a search warrant for?
Mm-hmm.
Say, has a YouTube channel about astronomy.
That would be hilarious.
It's all videos,
all of his social
moon
media,
and stars. That would be super funny.
Yeah, that would be hilarious.
Be absurd.
Be super funny. Someone said, you remember dial-up internet? Unfortunately, I do. Barely, though, because I'm only 29.
Did you see Jennifer's question? Did you see Jennifer's question?
Which one?
What happens if you send right there?
What happens if you send to one number through the carrier and another through device to really confuse things? Oh, I honestly don't know. I'm not sure, you guys. I'm not in a position to where, like, I know that back end coding type information in specifically wireless networks. I'm not sure. I wish I knew. Would it confuse them? I don't know, because you're still calling the same number, regardless where it's going, right? And that number is still going to have an RTT time with the tower. So ultimately, I would think that no matter what, it's going to show whatever phone has the original number, because that's the one that's communicating with the tower. But then that phone number would go to a different phone, right? Would all that be able to be seen? Great question, and I'll do some digging. I'll try and find out, you guys. Remember, I've said to you guys that I don't know everything with this stuff. If I don't know, I will find out, though, you know, and that's something I don't know. I'm not sure. All's well that ends well. Thank you to the exonerated and vindicated, for sure. For sure, I agree. We're just looking for transparency. Are
there any thoughts about the post of a telescope recording that night in light of his alibi?
We tried
what?
We tried to get that. Wait, the telescope video? Is that what they're talking about?
What telescope video?
Where we reached out to that video group that supposedly had like a telescope camera, whatever, that was looking specifically in the stars. Is that what they're talking about?
My gosh. What if they had a camera out there that night for real to record the meteor shower that night? And I did reach out to that guy, you guys, and he told me it was a hoax, that somebody basically hacked his account.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. But I don't know what the truth is, you guys. He could have just made it up, or it could be legitimate and he was silenced. I have no idea.
Yes. Let me just go through these questions here real quick. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I'm going to pick some out that are like really on point for the topic at hand here, and others I will save. I will save these and come back to them.
They say there was a camera set up, a tripod set up behind the 1122 King Road home, but the guy who claimed it, like, I don't know where he lives. He posted it on a U of I Facebook post or something. I don't know how we would. He didn't say the organization. We don't know. Like, there is no door to knock on that we know of. But go ahead.
Z says, explain man in the middle data, how it grabs and it mimics the tower. I believe that you're talking about devices like a Sandbox or a Stingray. Or if you're talking about like specifically network function like .com, and how there can be almost like an interrupter, like a middleman. I forget exactly what that's called. I'm going to have to look it up. I just don't have a good enough memory to remember the terminology for what that's called, that interrupts the flow from one command to another command. Bryce says, I do like the debates between you guys. I know we need to do them more. Are we brother and sister? We are not brother and sister. We are not married. We've known each other for a long time. Out of curiosity, can a cell phone without a SIM card, without a SIM inserted, when making a 911 call, connect to EMS tower? Or yes. So I think what they're asking about is, can a cell phone or tablet or computer that doesn't have a SIM card or a device that is needed to communicate with a wireless network, can that dial 911 or reach an emergency service? And it can without that. Which tower would Bryan Kohberger connect to if his phone pinged near 1122 around 9:12 a.m.? I'm going to have to pull that up, but because we aren't sure. We aren't sure yet. I could answer that, Shaggy, but no matter what I say, people won't believe no matter what.
What?
Can you go over the best settings to have for privacy on a cell phone? I can, not tonight, just because the time, but I can do that. Yes, for you. Like, I will do that. Not I can, but I will do that. Yep.
What if you turned your cell service off and connected it to another phone using a hotspot?
Huh?
Did you answer, what if you turned your cell service off and connected to another phone using a hotspot? Did you answer that?
What if you turned your cell service off?
Your data connection
to another phone using hotspot. Yeah, it would still have different IMEI information. So I mean, you can connect to it, but you're connecting in a different way. You're not actually like piggybacking off of the device to use the device's IMEI or anything like that. So I don't think that would do anything. So what are we at here? So 332. So still like 100. Someone asked, I deleted an app in error. Can I recover that information? So yes, as long as that app saves your information and or you have it saved in, you know, your cloud or something like that. It's the same for all computers or anything, you guys. Like, none of this stuff that I'm talking about is like cell phone specific. So I don't know if you guys remember, but when we started talking about the alibi, I'm not like a cell phone specific expert, but cell phones are computers, right? And computers all function the same on these wireless networks. And computers is a computer is essentially what we're talking about when we're talking about connectivity, background applications. Really, the only difference is the layouts or how it communicates and you know, the stats that it uses. So interesting.
Is that all the questions?
Yep. But all right, you guys, hit that like button, leave some stars, leave some ratings. I know one of the platforms is 3 stars and one of them is 5. We have thumbs up on YouTube and what I forget what the other one is on whatnot, but give us a rating, you guys. Leave a comment. We appreciate you. And I hope we got some more answers here, and we will continue to give additional answers. If you guys have questions, you know, throw them out there in the comment section. I will do my best to remember to keep taking pictures so I can answer them for everybody as we continue to research this. I really hope that soon, once we get this sale closed for the new building, I'll have more time to do some more research again, like some more investigative research again. So, but yeah, you guys are incredible, and we are super happy and lucky to have you all here. Thank you all for being awesome and teaching us all the stuff that you guys bring to the table. Keep supporting Thought Riot Podcast, and we will continue supporting you.
Yes. Again, thank you all for being here. It's been a great show. I really enjoy the Q&As. I think they're fun. I just like to learn more, you know. I like to explore ideas. Even with how much you've talked about this, I still feel like I learn more every time we talk about it.
Yeah.
There's always more to know.
Ton of information, like
it's
just
yeah,
a ton.
It's much more complicated than I would have ever thought, honestly.
Yeah.
One thing that I would really like to look at is the Cyrase company, because a lot of it's come into question, and this is in the future. Like I would really like to have your take on his company and what it did, and some of the decisions that were made in court in the past, and take a look at that. So I think we should definitely do that soon, because I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
But if you guys have any suggestions on cases or anything like that, definitely let us know, or different things you want us to dive into. Again, Twitter is a platform we're really working on right now to up followers and engagement and everything. So definitely go follow us over there at Thought Riot Pod.
Yes. Oh, and that's what I need to post. I need to post the Discord invite, everybody, because we have a Discord and it is super secret and you can only join with that invite link right there. If you don't know what Discord is, it is a 100% free service where we can continue the conversation, continue to investigate, hang out with each other, and have a good time continuing our learning and more in true crime cases and in Thought Riot Podcast. So follow that link if you need a walkthrough. I always suggest people go on YouTube, look for a walkthrough on YouTube, and yeah, it'll give you the rundown on how it works and everything like that. Just remember, it's completely free. I just posted our Twitter in there right now. So follow us on Twitter. We are active throughout the day, all day long on there most days. So you can come hang out and see what some updates are in the crime news world. I just posted our Patreon as well. And yes, we have a free tier on Patreon. Yeah, I think that is it for the True Crime Talk Show. My name's Brendan.
And I'm Malia. Everybody have a great night and see you next time.